What up, you guys? Welcome back to Feral Publications YouTube channel. It's me, Rich, your anti-fascist comic book nerd, curating comics for your reading enjoyment as well as empowerment. And today I want to talk about Judge Dredd. It's a character I like a lot. I love the 2000 AD universe. The universe, to me, it's what's interesting. It's the way these people are trying to coexist and all these little subcultures. But one of the main things that I've always enjoyed is the satire that's in there. It's how they make fun of like traditional comics as well as just like politics, authority figures. Like, Judge Dredd is not the hero. And I do understand that other writers and other creative teams have utilized the character as the protagonist, but overall, like when someone thinks of Judge Dredd, they should know that that's the anomaly and not kind of the way the character normally is being portrayed. And this is what the creator said, right? Judge Dredd is a satirical commentary on authoritarianism, with Dredd embodying an over-exaggerated law and order police state. The character is not a traditional hero, but a symbol of the terrifying logic of a system that prioritizes harsh, instantaneous justice over due process. So it surprises me to hear that for the most part, most people don't know that to be the truth. And I think that might be more of a US thing, because the UK folks know that this is meant to be like a punk satirical comic. Some of the topics and themes that I've always liked about the 2000 AD stuff is a lot of it is like, is this idea of like a caste system, right? So it's almost like this little bubble of survivors trying to survive, and there's a hierarchy that's built, and obviously on top of that pyramid is like this military dictatorship whose henchmen are the judges, meaning Judge Dredd is a henchman for this apparatus. After that, you can see that in the way he talks about the citizens, right? Like they're civilians, they're citizens, they're less than, they're under me, right? And not only that, that they are the judge, jury, and executioner, right? So there's no due process. Everything begins and ends with them. Like, that's some hitman shit, right? There's no more due process. And like overall, like the idea is like, the question, the leading theme, usually for 2000 AD comics for me, is this idea of like, what are you willing to trade for security? Like, how many of your liberties, how many of your freedoms, how many of your privileges would you abdicate to feel safe and secure? And obviously this is being done like in a post-apocalyptic situation, but obviously that also refers to us as individuals. Like, what are you willing to give up to feel safe and secure? And for some of us, not much, right? Like, we'd rather die free than live as a servant. You know what I mean? And those are some of the topics and themes in the 2000 AD Dredd comics, which I have a lot of Judge Dredd comics. And we can go through them all because I like reading them. And if you guys are down with that, we can do that on the channel. But today I want to look at this issue. It's a 2016 Free Comic Book Day 2000 AD comic. And there's a certain story in here that I like a lot called Uncivil Partnership. So let's go and peep this out together. So to begin with, you can see here, obviously making fun of Marvel and DC, right? That's obviously supposed to be like a spoof of Captain America. Obviously a spoof of Superman. Here they called them Captain Sensitive. Here they called them the Republican. And the idea in this story ultimately is this lead actor, right, has promoted this idea of like these two competing companies launching these big movies together on the same day, premiering at the same place. And that's the setting and the premise of the story. And what ends up happening is that you realize that both of their main stars were in a relationship and they split. And so like it also has this critique of like fandom, right? Going back to 2000 AD, as a comic book publishing company was always throwing punches at like the mainstream comic book reader, because they were something outlawed, they were more underground, they were subversive, right, as a company overall. So they, any chance they got to make fun of Marvel and DC, best believe they took that shit. So here they are. And what ends up happening is like, because of their breakup, the fans choose sides, right? And this reminds me of like the Twilight shit, where people were, I don't know what it was, but I guess the characters have like a love triangle. And so people had their favorite that they wanted to see as a couple. And so this is the other fella right here that's in this relationship. And boom, someone throws a rock at him, hits him on the head, and ultimately, boom, that's it. It triggers Dredd. He's like, fuck that, dunzo. Dredd's already there arresting folks. And what I like about this, it shows how even like someone that's famous fears the judges, right? Because the judges are just on another level, right? He's a celebrity, but guess what? He's still below a judge. And here's like judges, man, he wears security. Meaning he wants security from the judges. Like the judges is what makes him not safe. Right? But Dredd don't give a shit. He's like, come on, I gotta take you in there. That's my orders. And then bam, these are the two main stars, right? Gets hit in the head. Someone threw a rock at him. Right? And here you go, right? This is Team Breck. This is Team Sensitive, right? And so then Dredd is like, hell no, I ain't having this shit. He's like, Dork Geek Riot. So then that's it, bro. He's triggered. Love this panel. That's fire, homie. Right? They're all coming for him. He's just laying them out. And here we see them like stop. And it's like, what are you stopping for? Bam. And they hear the moment this whole situation made them realize how much they care about each other. And they end up back together. And here goes kind of the moral of it, right? This character's like, they've shown us that love is one of the few freedoms we got left in this stinking city. And here comes Dredd, not even trying to de-escalate shit, homie, and just fucking them up. Here's the part that gets me, right? Like, he arrests everybody. And he's like, and if you motherfuckers aren't belly on the floor, hands behind your back, when I fucking see you, you're getting an extra 6 months. Right? And he's like, and as for you, horsepower, I heard you say this lunatic festival was all your idea. It's like, what? It's like, motherfucker, you going to jail. Like, completely over the top. And just like, didn't de-escalate shit. Didn't help the situation out one bit. Really just made it worse. And again, in the Dredd universe, that's the point. Like, what they're doing is over the top. What they're doing is like, there's nothing about de-escalation, right? Everyone is below them, beneath them. And for the most part, that's what the Dredd comics do well, right? They make fun of the mainstream comic book industry while also making fun of people that would abdicate their liberties for security, as well as always showing what state violence is going to look like in those moments, right? And how a dictatorship looks like, right? There's no due process, right? Any punishment, there's no sense of justice, right? Like, it's not fair. Right? Everybody that was there, he's like, everyone is like just over the top shit, homie. Like, but when you think about what's happening now, like, that's why like this kind of shit is just good for you, right? Because like you start realizing like that's what's happening now here, right? In a big way. This idea that like we want more security, we feel unsafe, right? Whether valid or invalid. I want to say that a lot of it's invalid and that people have been made to feel scared because it helps them push their agenda forward. Right? But they've been made to be scared. They fear their neighbor, they fear the community, they fear all kinds of crazy shit, right? And they're using that fear to tell them, well, in order for us to give you that security, like just give up some of your liberties, right? In order for you to feel secure, just look the other way when we start getting rid of due process. To feel safe and secure, we need to kind of run this like a military dictatorship. And that's a fucking problem. Again, it's me, Rich, your anti-fascist comic book nerd. Just wanted to read some Judge Dredd comics and share some Judge Dredd goodness with you guys. As always, please like, share, subscribe, and I do this shit daily, so guess what? I'll be back tomorrow. Lates.